a lot of RDOs would tell you all they're doing is admin. And a lot of RDOs have left these positions because they're not actually supporting referees and going to see referees. And it's admin. A lot of them will tell you that. And I think when they actually have a referees development officer who absolutely develops referees and not fill in registration forms and fill in bookings and do stuff like that, then we start seeing results. Because an RDO, how it looks now, and anyone out there who's listening to this, an RDO, phone me, the way you want to get in touch with me, prove me wrong.
The good thing, gents, about watching the three of us talk about this is how passionate we all are. And it's like I said, the one thing we want is more referees, better referees, and referees to be able to do their job and feel safe and not feel threatened or intimidated, whether that's on the pitch or off the pitch as well. Yeah. And whether there are people, and I suspect there are, I don't know. In Liverpool FA, I've had relatively little dealings with anyone there, but I suspect in other counties, there are people in positions of power that aren't always entirely altruistic in that position of power. And they use it for their own means, or they use it to help out their friends or whoever.
Yeah.
But having an independent hotline or an independent whistleblowing way in which things can be put out into the open, that can only be a good thing to make everything about the counties more transparent, because I've said this before, they are operated like old boys clubs, the Blue Blazer Brigade, whatever you want to call them. We need to step out of that mentality and become a bit more modern with the thinking, with the openness, with the transparency, and how the county FAs need to work for everyone, not just the select few, not just the friends or the favoured ones. It needs to be there for everyone. Everyone is an equal stakeholder in the game. So let's have a service that operates and works for everyone. I think that's only fair.
I think it filters down from board level, and you can see where the forward-thinking, like chief executives are, and you can see where the forward-thinking people are, because it reflects in the referees department and what they offer the referees and everything that they give. We talked about it a few weeks ago, I think, where some re-affiliation was offered for free.
Yeah. Where
the counties have done that, generally you can see that they care about the referees. And they're forward-thinking, they want to look after the referees. And generally, that's not the only thing that they're doing for the referees. There's plenty of other things that go on around that as well that also are getting done for referees. But the ones that maybe are charging are not doing as much for the referees. They're just doing it out of continued momentum, compliance, everything else.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
Yeah, definitely is.
I agree, and there is some really good people in county FAs. I'm not going to tie them all the same brush, but again, some of those good people get stopped from doing stuff.
Yeah,
I know for a fact at the FA you're not going to do any form of training or new courses till March. What's all that about? There's a hive. The feedback we're getting is that it's absolutely rubbish. There's not enough going on, and yet they'll try and stop us doing stuff that we want to do. Right in the beginning to stop us doing it. Nah. Come on. Let them alone. And what they didn't realise is that the more, it's like being a kid, isn't it? When your ma says, "Don't look in that cupboard," don't you dare look in that cupboard, and you keep saying, "Don't you go in that cupboard." You're going to go in that cupboard, aren't you? You're going to go in that cupboard at some point. They've been going, "Don't go near ref support." Don't go. But all they're saying is ref support on the national media, ref support on the news. On the BBC website, they're all going to go, "Ooh, what's in that cupboard?" And what they don't realise they're doing, that they're forcing people to us, because they're going to go, that's why they don't want you, because you'll put your hands up and go, "I'll put my head on the stop and block."
Yeah.
I'll do it, I'll front it. I'll get battered on social media. for saying this is going on. Not you. I'll do it for you. I'm happy to do that. And that's the difference in the FA. The more they're saying, don't look at our covers, the more people are coming to us, and the more we're finding out.
Yeah, it's crazy. You look at all the other, how best to describe this? Okay, let's call it what it is, outsourcing. So there's not enough capacity within the FA's own training and development budget. But there is plenty of companies, Nathan nodding, Martin, I'm sure you're on board with this one, that would come in and deliver training, deliver improvement courses, deliver the things that the FA either can't or won't. Let's not, say which it is or why. But for a relative saving, instead of having to train up their own staff, instead of having to develop their own course and whatever, there are ready-made people out there to come in and do these trainings. And for whatever reason, I feel like outsourcing of the training is something that's not done. The FA will put on this whole, it's a quality control thing. We want to do it ourselves so that we know what the message is that's going out there.
No.
It is a control thing, and it needs to be looked at. It needs to be addressed. And because there are so many good people out there in football, not just in refereeing, in football, that can come in and improve the game for everyone. But whilst we've got this monopolistic sort of, it's my ball, my rules, my game, then nothing will change. And we've seen it for years. We've seen areas, we've highlighted areas ourselves where the game could improve very easily and very quickly, but it's not being done. Why? I can't tell you. You can't tell me, but we suspect it's because it's just the way that it's always been. And to change it would ruffle too many feathers.
When I said nah, I wasn't disagreeing with what you were saying. I was saying the quality. You've seen some of the quality they put out over the years. Embarrassing.
Yeah.
I was involved in it. I stand there in shock that the way they would bully people. Don't forget, we get my mates standing up saying no beards, no beer bellies, no tattoos. And he's at the top. He thinks that's acceptable. That's what, and they judge us. It's weird, isn't it? Because when I was running a regional academy, I was fine, no problem at all, credibility. A month later, when I run a ref support, don't go near him. They don't know what they're talking about. Well, actually, I did it a month ago when I was running your regional academy for you. Yeah. That's the sort of nonsense. Yeah. I can't get my head around it. I just can't get my head around it. And it's like, you don't do enough. You can't do FAs, don't do enough. Can't have FAs there. You don't even deal with the RA. You don't do anything. Because you don't want someone else showing how bold they are or what they do. It's just ridiculous. But now it's got so far, so clear. They're saying, oh yeah, they can do what they want. But then they're coming back and saying things like, oh well, we can't have you doing that because you're involved in assessing, and also because you're involved in ref support. And there might be like a bias. But they don't say that when there's an FA core coach at a game where an FA appointed assessor, observer. That's okay. That's fine. Don't have two ref support people there. We can't accept that. Now they're saying that no coaches can go in the dressing rooms when assessors there. But they do at the Football League. They do, it's like, what are you trying to stop?
Yeah.
And I always felt that there'd always been on a power trip, particularly with those two people who've been in charge for decades. Have you ever heard anyone being in charge of a department for so long and be utter rubbish at what they deliver and keep their jobs?
Well, Boris Johnson.
The thing I would say is that, well, yeah. What I would say is that, obviously you've talked about the outsourcing, and obviously with the third team, we've basically said to county FAs, do you want to outsource? So that's been one of the big things that, we made that offering of giving mental toughness, resilience and mental health support, where this is a difficult subject. And I've spoken about this before, I think, about how I've had RDOs say to me, yeah, I'm getting referees ringing me saying that, they've contemplated suicide and they've thought about, how important refereeing is to them, and if they've had an injury or another reason why they can't referee, how much of a dramatic impact that's having on their life. I think that these are all considerations that go well, that go over the heads of the majority of people who maintain good mental wellness and are lucky enough to have everything in a good place. But make no mistake, a deterioration in your mental well-being can happen in an almost overnight sort of period of time, and can be linked to one event or another event, which is obviously triggers that. So I think that's why, obviously what I'm trying to do is obviously be more of a preventative measure more than anything else for the majority of the people who are in the workshops, for it to be a message to them as a preventative thing, so that if things do deteriorate, they're then in a position to manage that situation and look after their own well-being, or then also go and do that. But a lot of RDOs, again, as I say, they're not bottling it because they're good people, they're compassionate people, but they find it very, very hard to know where to turn. And a lot of them are working with charities, and a lot of them are working with various different groups of people. But like I say, we've always said, really, it seems like referees are towards the end of the list of things to kind of, or list of people to support within the FA, behind coaches and players and various other departments. And that's why, I like to think that the offering I can give, which is specific to referees, and a lot of it is based upon my own experiences of being a referee. So I know exactly what it's like to be out there and to deal with a lot of these challenges, and then the impact that can have on your mental health when you go home to your wife and your kids, or whatever, your mum and dad or whoever it is. So I think that that's what I'm trying to offer. And like we said, some people don't want it, and it's, that's fine. And some people are working with various different other people, and again, that's fine. It's about making sure that it gets done, knowing that these things are managed in these situations and not allowed to fester, because ultimately, it's not that long ago. In fact, it's within the last 2 or 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, we've seen a football league referee on the wrong side of a bridge. And luckily, they came down from that. And obviously didn't choose to complete suicide on that occasion. But obviously their well-being thereafter needs to be a matter of consideration for everyone around that person and for that person themselves. And it's about making sure we get into the positions to deal with that. But by an RDO maybe being compassionate but not really supporting in a way that it needs to be, they're not actually helping that situation to improve. They're just sort of parking it, which doesn't really help that person. And it also makes them feel like football, which they hold so dear, refereeing, which they hold so dear, which has such an important place in their life, is another area which is going to kind of cause them heartache and going to also contribute to that deterioration in their mental wellness, which I think is very, very sad. And it's something that, I know that obviously having had longer talks with Martin about the support line that they're operating is a key consideration for them. But it needs to be a key consideration for everyone, because ultimately I'm not overplaying the role when I say that as an RDO you're responsible for that person as a referee. And if that person sees their identity as a referee as a big, big part of their identity, then you've got an important role in their life as an RDO. And I think I'm not saying they don't take it responsibly, but it's something that, obviously should be considered.
Well, listen, let's be honest. If the RDO's roles were subsidised by the FA, would the county FAs have them?
Well, that's a question that you probably would be a better place to answer than me.
I would say they wouldn't. I'd say they wouldn't. We've got funding for them. Now it's going to go even further. I can't see every county having an RDO in the next few months. Some of them being really done it already. And let's really, really be honest, for what an RDO does, for what an RDO should do, are very, very different. A lot of RDOs would tell you all they're doing is admin. And a lot of RDOs have left these positions because they're not actually supporting referees and going to see referees. And it's admin. A lot of them will tell you that. And I think when they actually have a referees development officer who absolutely develops referees and not fill in registration forms and fill in bookings and do stuff like that, then we start seeing results. Because an RDO, how it looks now, and anyone out there who's listening to this, an RDO, phone me, the way you want to get in touch with me, prove me wrong. I think we'll all agree that you're not RDOs. How you want to be RDOs.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, no. I'm just thinking that's heavy. That's heavy. I mean, that's it's hard to disagree. It really is. But again, without how do you kind of push that fundamental change to have your worst RDO or your most admin focused RDO? Because I'm sure they all want to do the best that they can.
Yeah, I'm sure they do, though, and I really am. I really don't think that they take a lot of the pleasure from doing form filling and even having to discipline referees and things like that. They'd much rather be able to reach out to a referee and say, this is why what you did wasn't quite right, and this is how you can improve it next time to make sure that you don't end up in this situation. They'd much rather do that than like the situation that Martin talked about earlier, slapping down a 160-day ban. That they'd much rather do that. But sometimes it's about a business reason and people tying their hands behind the back when they do these things. My understanding, certainly, anyway.
No, I agree, Matt. I agree. But then again, I'll always put my hand to be shot at. A lot of RDOs take the jobs, but if that was their only job, the RDO, they wouldn't do it. But normally, climb the ladder as a referee. Maybe somebody might want to keep on sides, so we get promoted a bit quicker. I don't know what the people said that. You get some people who are in really big roles as a referee, some are Football League referees. Perfect job for them, an RDO, not on much money. But the job I see it is they're not RDOs, they're not development referees. They spend too much time in the office. I know people who said, listen, do I need to come in the office? I can work remotely and I can do this. I'd apply for that job, real credible people. Well, can I work remotely? No, you got to come in 2 days a week. So it limits the catchment of the people who want to do that. And I just think, basically, an RDO job should not be registered referees. That shouldn't be nothing to do with an RDO. It doesn't develop a referee, registered them. Not to do that. It should be someone else's job. Yep. Get all that registration out of the way. Some do, some don't. They parry a job together. We're also a welfare officer and we're also this and we're also that. Just trying to get budgets to be able to justify the money they get paid. No, it's develop the referees. Most of these RDOs want to do that. Some RDOs get put in a position who aren't good enough for the job. Maybe they get on well with the chief exec or someone, and you get people complaining about them left, right, and centre. Well, but you do get really good. Some of them have been in the job for years and haven't really done anything. Mm. You know what I mean? I'll say face to face. I'd love to go to the RDO convention. I'll stand up there and just say, tell me what you do. I'll stand there and tell me what you all do. I'll do it in a real nice way, because the ones will say, this is what I do, and the ones that develop referees, I bet they're doing that outside the role they get paid for.
Yeah.
Because that's the sort of people they are. They're all really good people. Not all. A lot of them are really good referees people. But they can't do this.
Say that, Martin.
All the other shite.
It's funny you should say that, Martin. I've seen an RDO that I know, personally connected with them on Facebook, and I've seen it. I don't think I'm mistaken that 2 nights last week and last night again, he was out supporting his core referees. The RDO, not just the coach, the RDO was out supporting referees on grounds, obviously in the local area.
You're doing, that's what they should be doing. And they should be going to those grounds with 10 other referees saying, well, come on, you're going to sit with me and I'm going to show you what could be good, what is excellent, what is all right, what could be the better. That goes down to the commitment to the other referees to turn over the ground. Club will be made up. They might all buy a burger or something, because they haven't got the time to do that, because they're lumbered with an awful lot of admin they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
That's why we lose a lot of good people. And you normally find the ones that stay in a long time. They've normally either not refereeing anymore and want to give something back, or they are refereeing and it subsidises their income. Mm-hmm. And sometimes having a Football League referee or a Football League lino or a 2A or whatever as an RDO is good for the image of the county FA, isn't it? So, like, we know where it sits, but do they develop referees? And that's the question. And if I stood in front of them all and said, what have you done to develop referees? There'll be no consistent approach. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You'd want a standardized answer. Every single RDO would say the same thing. The truth is, that's not going to happen.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's their fault. County FAs by nature are like this. They want to hold everything together. They want to make themselves look good, not the neighbouring county. Too much of that goes on. And I know for a fact that goes on. But whose fault is that? You know, whose fault is that? Are the fundings delivered? I don't know. But there's lots of good people in RDO's positions, really good people. But they themselves will say, I don't develop referees. Because I'm lumbered with an awful lot of admin that I shouldn't really need to do, and I didn't come in the job to do it.
Yeah.
That's not my Cassie's opinion. And I feel sorry for them. There's some really good people in there, and talk to a few of them, and it's one, they should develop referees. And they should say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be at this game, watching this referee. They all want to come with me. Yeah. That's what should happen. And I'm sure there's some out there that do it. I'm sure there is some out there that do it, but it's...
The other thing as well, Martin, is that's where you identify who the best group of the next generation referees are going to be. Because if they want to give up evenings to go out and watch more experienced colleagues that they can learn from, not just working with them on the line, because I know a lot of them will put them on the line, and that's great, that's brilliant, that's fantastic, but actually go and sit in the stand and watch the referees with the RDO or with a core coach, whoever it might be, who then points and says, he's done really well there. What do you think he could have done better there? And work through it. And the referees who committed to, again, giving up an evening, like I said, are the ones that you would hold out the most hope for, because they're the ones who are the most committed and the ones who want to progress the most. I think that's a fair assumption.
Mm-hmm. And you create a community, because those people who go, I really enjoyed that. Where do you live? What school do you go to? Or where do you work? And a community can build very, very easily. RA isn't the way to do it. It shouldn't be a club. It should be just a community of everybody. You shouldn't need to pay a fee to have a buddy. You shouldn't need to pay a fee to get support. It's all free.
Yeah.
In the day of technology, it's all free. And having an RDO out there, which there are many who will give up their time to go and watch a game, and have people sit there with them and help them and guide them. It'll be really, really particular, but they haven't got the time to develop referees as much as they want to, because the Bears have got an awful lot of admin and nonsense. And that's just the nature of the beast. It's the way it's being framed. And it's like, it's a shame. It is a real shame. RDO's got a little bit edgy. I know this for a fact when we started, because we said we're going to do online learning before the FA did. I still thought we were taking a job. It wasn't we wanted an Hampstead job. A lot of them were like, not all of them, a lot of them were like, oh my God. Ooh. Because really, if you think about all the registration, it should be done online. You need an RDO to check all that. All the CRBs, that sort of stuff, DBS.
It's literally admin assistant stuff. The
referees should be able to be there, do some form of development plan, about developing referees, or developing the business, and maybe get a sponsor to throw a couple of grand at it to put events on. None of them seem to seek that. I can't remember seeing, so-and-so's development group is sponsored by so-and-so.
Yeah.
That should be the norm. My lads are what we're going to do, we're going to put a little buffy on. We're going to pay that club some money to put a buffy on for us. We'll go to this game and we'll watch that game and we'll have a chat afterwards.
I think a lot of RDOs just don't have that sort of business sense. Maybe the money generation, maybe they're just used to saying, okay, well, this is your budget, not thinking, well, how do I generate extra income? How do I make that budget stretch just a little bit more? Maybe that's just not their remit. Maybe they need people in that would be more BDMs, business development managers, to kind of enhance what they've got and also look for new revenue streams other than the traditional ones.
I think also, so when I worked at the FA, I suggested to me about the ages. The team sheets and the expenses guy we always used to get in the team sheets goes to God knows how many people, doesn't it? Like a couple of people. Back then, like 12 years ago. That's a prime place to advertise on the back. How many people it goes to? The expenses card. Who goes to the people with money? advertising on the back of that. Or blank. So why don't we just do a deal with someone? And you can say every single week, this is going to go to X amount of people, this card.
Yeah.
This card.
Yeah.
Every line, every ref. We've got 3 of them, every game, every week. So I mean, that's a lot of coverage. His answer to me was, whatever I raise through sponsorship, you'll just take off my budget at the top. So it's not with the hassle. That's what he said to me. I've kept the email on. Send you an email. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's going on at County FA. Oh, well, 2 seconds. I can't even look that. My phone's back up there. What we'll have to do is try and shut my bleeding phone. Hang on. This is going to be dead for you. Come on, are you still there? Can you see me?
We're still good. We're still good.
I couldn't tell it's Ant Canavan, and then my phone's not here. My phone's in my bleeding kitchen. Rigged up to my bloody MacBook, bloody thing. I couldn't get visible. I'll tell you what I was saying. What was it? Oh yeah. So if you think about the way they frame the business, where money that comes in from sponsorship gets taken off a budget, maybe that's something to do when it shouldn't be. Should be an addition.
Exactly. You should. Yeah. That's exactly how it should work. But if it's not working, then
local businesses as well, and I'm sure that they're in your area as well, and Martin, obviously, you'll know them a lot better. But where referees, I know there's one here that I think he provides the balls for the Northern League. They're running their own businesses. They're referees who are already emotionally invested in refereeing, and they would happily donate for sponsorship to be involved with refereeing and to support refereeing in their local area, because they're already referees. They're already invested in refereeing. They care about refereeing. They're passionate about it. So I think that to think that there's absolutely nothing more that can be done is not true. I think obviously where you have the reality is whose decision is it? Does the RDO have the authority to make those decisions or not? There should be, shouldn't there? And it's like, it's a really honourable position to be in as a referee, isn't it? So, the guardian of standards and responsibility and trust. Some great brands would want to get involved in that. But it's too political. If you do it at the top, none of it comes down to the grassroots. None of it. We did it at the National Referee Development Programme. Carlsberg was interested, because there was too many people under the age of 18 in there, they didn't do it. Got knocked back. There's people been sniffing around for a while, but I'm not really sure. I think it's all about control again. But there's no reason to me why each individual county FA can't get a business to sponsor them. I did it. I told you before, years ago, £2,000 a year I used to get in, where we used to take people to Holland like we talked in the past.
Yeah.
That's just me. Why can't other people do stuff like that? It's doable. It's definitely doable. For some reason, it must be political. Because, or maybe they say, actually, why don't we just get sponsors with the referees? Why aren't we getting it for the coaches that coach football? Why aren't we getting it? Might be that sort of nonsense involved. I don't know.
But there's no reason that they can't.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to understand what the reason is, because I know you just mentioned Carlsberg there, and I know that, and we have to congratulate him, by the way, for just doing his, in the last month, for just doing his first Football League game. But I know Sam Allison, who Martin, I know he was involved quite a few years back now with, was it a celebrity? Was it Prince William or someone? But I know that he was with another referee on a Carlsberg thing. It was a Carlsberg funded, whatever you want to call it. And that was about refereeing as well, and obviously about the partnership that they'd built. So there's obviously a long-standing interest, and it's about converting those things into opportunities so that they can obviously flourish with the backing of these companies.
Well, look what's just happened at Nationwide Building Society. Did you see what they've just done?
No.
Absolutely proves my point. They sponsored the Respect Programme. Now, where's that money going? What's going to happen? Respect Programme is dead. What actually is the Respect Programme? If you look on they've been online, they've been on TV. They sponsored the Respect Programme.
Yeah.
Why doesn't every referee know about that?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't know about that.
Where's that money going?
It's news to me as well.
Google, what is Google now? Nationwide Building Society, the ones that used to sponsor England, are now sponsoring the rest of the FA Respect Programme. Where does that go? What does that really look like? What's it getting used for? Who's it for?
Yeah, I'm just looking at this thing here, Martin. This Carlsberg thing was the FA Carlsberg Referee Awards, and it was Sam Allison who came down. So this must have been when he was sort of more at grassroots level, because quite a few years ago now. And basically, they've got, the like the banners that you got, the roll banners, yeah. Got two of them, and and it says here, recognising and rewarding our referees. And it's a picture of Sam, and he's shaking hands with Howard Webb, who at the time, they've got the Expedia, so it tells you how long ago that was on the referees kit. But it just shows, the fact that they were not only keen in investing in refereeing, but also keen on recognising and rewarding referees who are doing well. And I think that this is one of the things that we've touched on in the past, If you don't recognise and reward referees enough, they don't know when they're going well, they don't know when they're doing right. And for the good ones that deserve that recognition, it gives them that little bit of motivation to get to the next level, the next level. Because we've talked about it before as well. There's so much sacrifice goes into, if you're Anthony Taylor, right? And who it seems at the moment is the number one referee for England. You have gone through so much sacrifice. He's from Cheshire, isn't he? So he'll have been at all sorts of places on a Tuesday night, and he'll have been all over the county. It's a big county, Cheshire. So you think about all those nights and all that sacrifice, and he's got wife and kids at home, and everything that you put into that. If a company like Carlsberg wants to reward and support referees, it gives them that, year after year, they go out there and they try to push for promotion. It gives them that motivation to say, yes, I'm doing a lot of the right things, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And I am making progress with my refereeing. It is something to be proud of, which I don't think enough of the time we hear as referees.
No, I agree. Especially grassroots. I mean, you'll get recognition if you're part of a certain program or a development group or this or that, but who's kind of acknowledging the fella that's been chugging away for 10, 15, 20 years at grassroots, just gets on with it, doesn't really attend RA meetings because they're not his thing, or he doesn't have the time, he or she, I've automatically kind of masculined up this fictitious person, but there's plenty of people, like you say, that will sacrifice for the good of the game, receive very little reward, recognition, or thanks, but they just chug on with it anyway because that's what they do.
I see the FA gives long service awards, but I don't recall ever seeing a referee getting one.
Listen, that's a bone of contention for a few people, because again, it goes right back to this favouritism and control. You'd be surprised how many get the awards. Anyone that's pissed off anyone doesn't get it. I know loads of referees that's been around for years and hasn't got any long service awards because they've come out, or they're not trendy, or they're not in with them. But little Mr. So-and-so who helps with this and helps with that for the county FA, he gets it on the day. He has a 25 year service. There's loads of that going on. I could ream the list off. But again, it's another problem. I'm a bit of a doom and gloom on this episode, aren't I?
Got you on a bad day. Yeah, lovely stuff, gents. Thank you as always, and thank you for watching at home.